Hello and welcome to the next word in our Advent series. Today's word is mercy. There's a pilot by the name of Charles Brown, but he was known more commonly as Charlie Brown, but not the Charlie Brown that many of us will know. Charlie was a pilot during World War II, and in 1943 he was part of his first ever combat mission. The mission hadn't really gone to plan, and not only was his plane, but also his crew were wounded as a result of the German opposition. He was disorientated, he didn't know where to go or really what to do. Out of nowhere came a plane. He hoped it was perhaps one of his own, but discovered that it was in fact a German plane. He looked over to his co-pilot and he said simply, "This is it. It's over for us." But then as he briefly glanced back over towards the German plane, he noticed that the pilot wasn't pulling for the trigger, but was in fact giving him signals. It appeared that he was directing him where to go. They followed this plane, and this plane not only was allowing them to get back to a place of safety, but it was also positioning itself in a place that if any other German planes were coming towards them, that it would be protected. After many miles, they had got back into no man's land and eventually back to safety. The whole crew were amazed at what had happened, and they told some of their higher ranked officers about this, but were told never to speak of it again. But this story stayed with Charlie, and for many years he thought about ways in which he could get in contact with that pilot to find out who he was and to ultimately thank him for the mercy that he'd shown to not only him but his crew. After about 40 years, he discovered who the pilot was. His name was Franz Stigler, and they met for the very first time. And as they met, they both embraced each other and tears dropped down both their face. Mercy was shown to Charlie, but it seemed to also have an effect on Franz. We read these words in Ephesians that say this: "But because of his great love for us, God, who is rich in mercy, made us alive in Christ when we were dead in our transgressions." Mercy offers light in our darkness. Mercy offers us a way to life from death. It's a sense in which we don't deserve this life, but we are offered it and given it in much the same way as Charlie wasn't really deserving of his life, but Franz was able to give it. Mercy is a great attribute of God. He shows great mercy on us. He allows us to be in a relationship with him, even though we do not deserve it. Mercy is shown. I want to take you back to higher English, or perhaps whatever it was for your generation. I want to take you back into that English classroom where you're studying Shakespeare and learning about the ways in which he writes and the way in which it has all these different meanings to it. In The Merchant of Venice, there is a scene where Portia is speaking to the judge, and she says these words about mercy: "The quality of mercy is not strained, it droppeth as the gentle rain from heaven upon the place beneath. It is twice blessed. It blesseth him that gives and him that takes." God shows his mercy to us. He is in a position where he shows it with great love. And he shows it in a way in which we have great mercy bestowed upon us, that we have life instead of death, that we are not in an old pattern of living, but in a new way of living. But we also have the opportunities to show mercy to others, to allow other people to experience that mercy. And I love what it says in Shakespeare, that it is twice blessed. It blesseth him that gives and him that takes. When we show mercy, it not only is for the Charlie Browns of the world, but is also for the Franz Stiglers of the world. What I love about that story is that both of them were in tears as they met. Both of them experienced a sense of life, of feeling alive. So may you know today that God's mercy that is not strained is a source of light in our darkness, and it brings us life. And may you know that today you have the opportunity to show mercy that is twice blessed, that in showing mercy, you bless the person, but also you bless yourself.